Hi everybody, welcome back to our gaming podcast. We are talking about
remakes and remasters, and whether or not they are actually having a negative impact on creativity. Are they a good thing? Are they not? Remakes and remasters are definitely a thing at the moment. For me personally, we've got Black Flag Resynced is what it's been called, coming out soon in the next couple of months. But you have more experience, I think, with remakes and remasters than what I do.
Yes, I think I do.
So let's go with your controversial opinion number one.
So controversial opinion number one is remakes and remasters can be a good thing in the gaming industry if they're done correctly. There are lots of examples where they haven't been done correctly, but at the same time, there's also lots of examples where they have been done correctly. And I think one good example of that I can think of straight out the gate is the Final Fantasy VII franchise. So that originally came out in 1997.
I should have thought ahead and realised that you were going to talk about Final Fantasy.
Of course I was going to talk about Final Fantasy.
Why didn't I think about that before? Go on then. Why does that one work for you?
Well, because that one was done properly. Like, the guys at Square Enix actually sat down and looked at this game and made it from scratch. So it wasn't something you can tell some things have been copy pasted, and like you need that a little bit just so your story's right, just so that your consistency is right, and you're not going to piss off any of your OG fans.
Yeah.
Because if you piss off your OG fans, you've mucked up the entire project, if you ask me.
And I think that's always the danger.
Yes. Is
that core fans, OG fans, ones that have been around for a long time, that are nostalgic and really fixated on a game being the game, it falls into really dangerous territory, because if you upset them and you don't do as good a job as what the first time round did, then it's always going to upset a few people and it's always going to be a bit of a problem. So going back to Black Flag, which comes out, is rumoured to come out at the end of March. It has now been given an official title as Black Flag Resynced. What we know of it so far is that they are going to fiddle around a little bit with the story, not majorly. There's a bit about the gameplay in the sense that they're taking out all of the modern story from it. So that,
don't know how I feel about that.
No, but the modern story in Assassin's Creed has always been an issue. It's always been problematic, because they will have it and then never really progress it and continue it. And actually, if they did, it's the one thing that could link all these games together, and they just don't do it. So now they're taking it out of Black Flag altogether, which is weird to me. I don't really know why they've done that. And they're instead adding in more pirate story and more of that historical context. So it starts to feel more like part of the RPG series, and I think there will be more RPG elements to it. And I know that there are already people that are upset about that.
Yeah.
But even if they didn't do that, what is the point? And this is genuinely a question. What is the point of redoing a game just to give it better graphics, updated graphics?
So, okay, I'm going to be slightly harsh on the gaming industry here, but ultimately it is a cash grab. Let's be brutally honest. They're taking a not original idea and trying to make more money off it. Which I get, I understand, and I'm not going to criticize too harshly of, because at the end of the day, these companies have got to make money. Otherwise, we're not going to get a gaming industry.
Yeah.
But I do think these developers do need to put the effort into the games that they are remastering or remaking or rehashing, so that it is actually a good game for us, the consumer.
Yeah, which is fair. It's that I look back on a previous example when they did the slight update to GoldenEye.
I haven't seen that yet. I heard about it. I haven't seen it yet.
See, GoldenEye for me was the very first console game that I remember playing. I remember being really bad at it. But, at the time, we didn't know the graphics weren't very good. We just knew it for what it was. And then they kind of resynced it later, or remastered it later with just slightly updated graphics and all this kind of stuff. And I'm kind of thinking, if you want to play that game, just go back and play the original game. It just didn't really work for me. And yet for some reason I am excited about Black Flag, and I don't know if that's just because I loved that game, so it's an excuse to play it again and see the differences and that kind of thing. But yes, you're right. I think with Final Fantasy, if they get it right, then it works.
Another example of one that did it right, now this was a little while ago, but Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D remaster.
3D remaster.
Yes. So when the 3DS came out, there was a Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time remake on there as well. That was another example of them doing it right, because it was heavily upgraded graphics, but there was a lot more copy paste from the old version into the newer version. But it was done in a way that fans of the OG game knew exactly what they were doing with it.
Yeah.
And it looked really slick. Like, it was a Legend of Zelda game. It was a near perfectly done game for the time. And I still think it is a near perfectly done game for the time. And I still do play it, not regularly, but what you've got to remember is I was too young for Ocarina of Time the first time round.
Yeah.
Second time round on the 3DS, that was my first time actually playing it through to completion.
I suppose the argument for doing it is that it does bring them into potentially like a new audience that's never really seen them before. Even though those games exist, and if you're a fan of a particular part of a franchise, like, keep going back to Assassin's Creed, but there are people that have only ever played the RPG sagas. They've never gone back and played the originals.
Oh, right.
For example, it's just a thing. It's just that because those are the games that came out while they were playing, so naturally those are the ones that they do. And I think if you then go backwards and play the original games look really bad because you're used to modern gaming, RPG, all these types of combat systems that don't exist in the first one. So they look at the originals as being, why would I play this? You know, why can't these ones be resynced to make them more like what I'm used to? So that does appeal to a particular part of the audience and kind of bring new stuff in. I would like them to remaster like all of those games, Assassin's Creed in particular, just because I don't like the combat systems in the originals. I find them clunky. They're more cinematic than what they are now. So you just get the timing of it right, and then the game does it for you of actually killing people off and finishing off your enemy. Whereas in the RPG ones, you've actually got to do it, so you're more in control. So to me, I actually do think that the more modern games are better, including Black Flag. So actually, if they put a modern day RPG combat system into Black Flag, I think that makes Black Flag a better game.
Oh, okay, fair play.
So where they do make mechanical changes, I do think that can be for the better.
I'm going to counter that with one where it did actually get proper nosed up.
Go on.
So, as you guys probably already know, I am a big Resident Evil 4 fan. It's my favourite game in the entire franchise. So, hold fire, let me get this one out.
I was going to ask you. Yeah.
So, I actually originally played that on the Wii.
On the Wii?
On the
wow.
Wii version.
Okay.
Now, they re-released that for the Switch. Oh my god, the Switch controls are clunky and useless. And I genuinely despised it.
But is that just because that's what you're used to? If you were a new person coming in and you'd never had any experience of how it used to be, then you wouldn't know any different.
I think I might need to do the same test on you. I need to bring the Wii here. We plug it into your TV.
God, it's been ages since I played a Wii.
We'll play the OG on the Wii.
Have you got Wii bowling? I love Wii bowling. You literally just sit here and you haven't got to do anything. You just have to do this.
I do have a Wii Sports.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Let me get back to you on that.
The Wii baseball. Yeah, I loved all that. Yeah, next time you're bringing that.
We'll get back to that idea. But the controls on the Wii version were smooth, and like the aiming mechanic was seamless, and they could have put that back in to the Switch version, and they didn't. I don't know what the heck they did, but they proper messed it up. And there are times like that where I think, why did they even do that?
Yeah. And
that is one of the negative remake, remaster, re-release experiences I've had recently.
Yeah, in terms of creativity, I do think that there is a bit of a trade-off, because it's like, if you're going to spend the time and the effort and the money of remastering a game, are you doing it at the expense of making a new one? Because let's be honest, remastering a game where you already know the story and you haven't got to think about script and you haven't got to think about storyline, because that already exists.
Yes.
All you're worrying about is the IT, basically, of remaking that element of it. You don't have to think about, okay, well, what do I do with the story, or what do I do with this character? Because that's already preset. So from a time and money perspective, I understand why companies would want to do it, because it means they can churn out a sort of new game, a new release, let's say, with less effort, but at the cost of creating something new, you know?
Yeah.
They're bringing out Black Flag, but we're still waiting for Hex, which is supposed to be the next one. Why not just focus on Hex, get that to us faster, so we've got a brand new game? So from a creative point of view, I do think it's a little bit lazy.
From a creative point of view, yes. From a business point of view, I can see the logic at the end of the day, because I don't know how drastic this actually was, and this information could be out of date, but when Tears of the Kingdom got delayed lots of times, same with Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild got delayed a lot, because that game was originally meant to come out on the Wii U. That was its original console. That ended up not happening, and it ended up being the launch title, the Switch, instead.
Okay.
Which is fine, and honestly, I think that was the right thing to do. But when they announced the delays that were happening with Tears of the Kingdom, they had a stock price slump.
Yeah,
it wasn't for long. It did come back quite quickly.
Yeah, it's always quite interesting to kind of see how markets respond to sort of remasters coming out, and whether or not they think it's good and all this kind of stuff. But again, it just shows how dangerous it is to kind of risk your franchises on remastering something that's so beloved by people. Because if you mess it up, then yeah, that's the problem. You'll see that financially.
That's the thing. Tears of the Kingdom didn't mess up. It just got delayed.
Yeah.
I mean, it still caused that, even though it was temporary slump.
Well, because I think
it still caused it.
Delays cause an assumption that this game is not good.
Right.
You know.
I mean, the game that came out, even though it was delayed, was incredible and still is incredible.
Well, let's look again at my favourite franchise, and we'll say Shadows. Okay, that was delayed by quite a long time. It came out in the March, I think, of last year. It was supposed to have come out in around the end of October, beginning November of the year before. So it had been delayed by the best part of 6 months. And I have a funny feeling that even that original end of the previous year release date had been pushed back a little bit as well. So these constant pushbacks of, no, we're going to have to delay it. We're going to have to delay it. No, we're not going to do a trailer for it yet. No, we're not going to have it at this event yet. No, we're pushing it back again. It just reeks of, we can't get this game right. And then,
if you want to throw shade at a company for that right now, you ready?
Go on.
GTA 6.
GTA 6 is a great example of that, because yes, they've delayed that game for years. What feels like years anyway. It has
definitely been years.
It's been pushed back again and again and again. And you sort of wonder, is the story not very good? Is it not testing well? Is there something wrong with the mechanics of the game? Is it too big? You know, it throws all of those kind of doubts at you that they know what they're doing, or that something's not really wrong. When Shadows did eventually come out, it got slated because it was very divisive amongst the fans.
Yes.
It caused a lot of problems politically as well. We won't really go into that today, but there were a lot of issues that were a result of that game. People weren't happy with it from a cultural perspective. People weren't happy with it from a story perspective. People weren't happy with it from a character perspective. It also raised a lot of political issues in other countries. It also stirred up a lot of controversial topics on equality and all of these things came out of this game, and it gave online trolls just ammunition to just launch attack. So although Ubisoft would kind of try really hard to make all of these statements about how much money it was making, about how many times it'd been sold, how many times it'd been downloaded, how many unique players it had, and all this kind of stuff, it still had all of those underlying issues which just surrounded the game with controversy. So you've delayed it for all that time, and what you've then brought out isn't very good.
Caused controversy.
Yeah, caused a lot of problems. And it makes you think, how bad was it before that they delayed it by 6 months and then came out with that?
Who knows?
So, yeah.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that board meeting, though.
For sure. But you're right. I think that delays are definitely an issue with games. And part of me thinks, stop giving us release dates. Just say we're working on this game, and until you actually have a finished product, when you know you're definitely going to come out with it, don't give us a date, because as soon as you say we're delaying the game, your stocks are going to fall.
Yeah, you're trapping yourself in a box, really. The creators, when they give these dates and then the dates have to change, they're sort of stuck between they've put themselves between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, customer confidence, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. So it sort of immediately makes people doubt whether or not this game is going to be any good or what the problem is.
GTA 6, for example.
And yeah, GTA 6. So, God, yeah, what is wrong with it? What is wrong with that game?
I don't know.
Like,
they are living up to GTA 5, and that's the other big issue with remakes, remasters, re-releases. They are living up to the hype and prestige and expectation of their predecessors. And that can be really, really tough. Sometimes these companies can stick the landing, and we've talked about a few of those. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ocarina of Time 3D version.
Yeah.
I'd argue the Mass Effect ones.
Well, Mass Effect
tried,
yeah,
and
Mass
actually
really
mostly did quite well. They didn't have to change much for Mass Effect 3. It was 1 and 2 that needed the upgrade, and I think it actually did quite well. I'm not going to spoil it because he hasn't played it yet, so I'm going to hold fire there.
What we've got ready to be played are the PS4 versions of the entire trilogy. When that's going to happen, I have no idea.
You've been having fun with Space Marines at the moment.
Space Marine has been very successful on the channel. It's been quite well watched. Campaign on that is done. There's lots of side missions that still need to be done.
Go for it.
Obviously, Valhalla main story arc's finished. There's still a lot of that to be done. Another topic we were talking about, or going to talk about, was like games we've never finished. And I'm looking at this pile of this list of games, and I'm like, I'm not sure when this is going to happen. Because Space Marine isn't technically 100% complete. Valhalla is not 100% complete. Mass Effect hasn't even been started yet.
We still need to do Kingdom Hearts.
Still need to do Kingdom Hearts. Resident Evil Village is very much at a stuck point, and I know what happens when I play games. I get stuck and then I stop.
Yeah.
So I don't know when that's going to get finished, if ever. Mirage is now started on there as well, and there's only like an hour into that so far. Hopefully that one will pick up a little bit more. But then there's new stuff coming out as well, which then causes problems. So yes, Black Flag Resynced comes out.
That's going to
Resident Evil Requiem comes out in a month. We're never going to get Village finished before Requiem.
No.
It won't happen. And we are now stuck on it. You've got to sit down and you've got to try and figure that out tonight.
I'll try. I'll see if I can get you through that puzzle at least.
So it's, they're racking up and they're piling up, and it's definitely becoming a bit of a thing. I really want to be able, like when new games get released and they come out, is get on them straight away. So that you guys can see it, so that we can obviously experience it without spoilers and things like that. And there are a few games that fall into that list for this year.
Yes.
But it does mean that stuff that we're already playing
will have to go on the back burner,
kind of gets paused a little bit. There's too many games.
I know.
Too many games. Don't know. I'd like to play Final Fantasy VII.
I'd like to. Do I have Final Fantasy VII on my Switch? I think I have OG. I have OG Final Fantasy VII on my Switch.
And there's also Kingdom Hearts.
As the Kingdom Hearts franchise, and that's 10 games strong now.
Yeah, and the PS5 sat there ready to be used. So all of those are available. There's a lot of games. We obviously have Sonic Crossworld Racing, Sonic Racing Crossworld, whichever way around it is. So that's on there at the moment. Not every track's been done. Not every campaign type's been done. So, they're stacking up quite a lot.
The list is just going to keep growing. There's nothing we can do about that.
So I don't really mind when there's big gaps between new releases coming out. So if you're going to delay GTA 6, great. Because I can catch up with other stuff, right?
When GTA 6 does land, that could be a very long
I genuinely have no excitement for that game. I really don't.
You've lost your excitement for it?
Completely.
Wow.
I was excited when the trailer came out. I thought, yeah, that looks really cool. And I'm a huge, huge fan of Vice City. That game, GTA 3 was actually the first one that I started. And it was first time I'd ever played a PlayStation game was GTA 3. And loved it. I don't think I ever finished the story on it, to be honest, because you could spend so much time just dicking about on that game, because all open world and you can just mess about. And I was a young teenager. I just wanted to mess about, drive cars, crash them, do all the things on GTA that are fun. And then when Vice City came out, I did finish the story.
Good.
I had to use a lot of cheats.
I'm not going to judge.
I miss the days of cheat codes. Is that not a thing anymore? What happened to cheat codes, right? You used to be able to buy a whole book, and it was like triangle X square, L1, R2, and then you would unlock all of this amazing stuff. Where's that gone?
Up, down, left, right.
Yeah.
B, A, start. Yeah.
Yeah. My whole GTA Vice City experience was completely tarnished in some ways because I had messed it up so badly with cheat codes. So like I had flying cars. Every single car was.
Oh, you made it bug.
Well, the problem is that I would put in the cheats and then accidentally maybe do an odd mission or two. It would then save, and I had saved it with all the cheats turned on.
Whoops.
And it, for some reason, wouldn't let me turn them off. So there was a bit of a bug on the fact that I couldn't turn off these things. And if you drove the tank and you fired the cannon, the propulsion of the cannon was so strong that the tank would instantly fly off backwards, and you would have to try and fly it back. That every time something took off and you had a flying car, it would explode the moment that it hit the ground.
Oh.
So that didn't really work. I also had a really random cheat code on there where every car was coloured black. I don't know why. It was really weird. There was also a few games where I had the DK cheat code. Do you know what that is?
No.
So DK is Donkey Kong mode.
Yes.
So
I know what DK is.
So
I didn't know DK was.
No, it's an actual thing. Okay. So on GoldenEye on the N64, yes, you could switch DK mode on and off, and it would just basically make the characters that Donkey Kong shape of massive heads, tiny legs, huge arms, and there were cheat codes like that on some other games where I couldn't then switch it off. There was also a thing about there was a cheat code I had on there that I couldn't switch off on Vice City, where every NPC would fight you. So if you were walking down the street, any random NPC that was there, they would just start punching you.
Oh, interesting.
So the game became incredibly violent and incredibly weird because you were just taking off all the time. As soon as you built up a bit of speed, firing backwards. Yeah, so it was all a little bit strange. And somehow I managed to complete the storyline with all of these problems still on it.
Yikes.
So I did do that for GTA Vice City, but man, what a game. The soundtrack was so good. Loved that game. And weirdly, I'm not excited for GTA 6. Because I don't...
You've been waiting a very long time for it, haven't you?
I don't... Thing is, I've not played GTA 5. So I feel like I'm out of the loop with it a little bit.
I would recommend you play some GTA 5, because I've played some GTA 5, and it is a good game. It is worth playing, and I do like the story arc in it.
Historically, I don't like GTA's combat systems.
Oh no, the combat system is still rubbish.
Oh, excellent. Okay, that's good to know.
Story, gameplay.
I think the last one I played was probably San Andreas, which was very buggy.
Right.
The map was so big it crashed all the time.
GTA 5 has less of those issues. It is a good game to play. There's a lot you can do, and it is very open world. It is an open world done right.
Yeah.
So I think it is something that's worth you having a go at if you're able to get it on your Game Pass or something, for example.
Yeah. I mean, I love an RPG game, open world stuff, because I like going off mission.
Yeah, same.
Because particularly when it comes to doing channel stuff, because if I'm in mission mode or campaign mode, very much all of that stuff is recorded, and that's what we put out as our long-form videos. It's nice to be able to not have the camera running and just go off and do like side missions and dick about. So, there's definitely an upside to that. It's quite calming.
I agree.
Just to run around in an open world and cause a lot of chaos and a lot of problems is quite good fun.
Yeah.
And that's what GTA, especially when you're a teenage boy, was just hysterical. So, because, you used to be able to do things in GTA that I think culturally are not acceptable anymore. But again...
I wonder if that's why it keeps getting delayed. They're trying to find the right balance between...
But this is the problem. You can't balance GTA because the things that made it so popular were all of the stuff that now
culturally unacceptable. Even in a video game world.
You can't get a hooker in your car and then beat her up and steal all her money. You can't really get away with that now. You could then. Then it was hilarious then. It's not hilarious now.
Oh, dear.
So, culturally things change. And getting back onto the subject of remakes, maybe that's one of the reasons why they do it. Maybe actually they take games that at the time we've moved on as a society, things that were acceptable then aren't now. So they maybe developers want the chance to take those original games and bring them back into a kind of modern mindset.
Yes.
Which would be interesting to see what they do with things like Black Flag, where there were a lot of, I mean, it's not colonial America, it's the golden age of piracy. There's a lot of things like slavery that's going on and things like that. So there's a lot of those political things in there that are obviously a thing. They might treat that differently. Did you know, fun fact, that Assassin's Creed had planned or Ubisoft had a whole new game that they were planning that was going to be based on the American Civil War.
Ooh.
And they scrapped it because they felt like it was too sensitive a topic because of obviously what goes on in that. So
I understand the need to write those stories, those types of stories, very, very carefully. But at the same time, I think it's important that we do write those stories and people do understand these stories and the good and the bad that happened in that part of history.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is something that needs to be done very carefully. But it is still something that I think people don't have the courage to do much anymore, which is really sad.
They've definitely taken a step back, and I do find it really interesting. And maybe Shadows is perhaps the reason that's sort of caused them to rethink it, because basically what happened in Shadows is that originally when it came out, and I don't think you can do this now, I think they've actually patched it. You could go into like a temple, for example, and you could take a katana and you could cut it up and destroy it. Now, that obviously caused an incredible amount of backlash.
Yep, not surprising.
But the weird thing about it, on Valhalla, you can go into a Christian church and you can set it on fire. No one cares.
Yikes.
So, cultures shift. And
they're shifting all the time as well. That's the other.
But again, I think that's maybe one of the reasons why it tempts developers into thinking, okay, well, we'll remake this game because it was acceptable then. Maybe if we just tweak it, it would be more acceptable now. But really interesting, because I think it actually puts some developers in a bit of a dangerous position, because it will bring up historical things or gameplay type things like in GTA that people just won't accept now.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous. Is there anything in Mass Effect like that?
Mildly, but it's not anything major. So there is a character called Ashley, and she's mildly racist to the aliens. Minor spoilers, by the way. She's mildly racist to some alien species. I'm not going to spoil it any more than that. But the good thing about Ashley's character is if you develop her character, she does grow out of that.
So there's good character development.
Exactly.
Okay. That'll be quite interesting to see.
So I think if you're able to develop, if these characters do that development, then I think if you're remaking that character, you shouldn't change that.
Because that's always the danger, I think. If you remake something and you take out a lot of the stuff that was acceptable then and was entertaining to us then or funny to us then, you take that out, games might suddenly start to become quite bland.
Yeah, so using Ashley again as an example, if you take her character development out of the game because what she said at the start of the franchise wouldn't be socially acceptable, Ashley becomes a really rubbish character.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't have that development. She doesn't have that growth.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just puts games at risk of just becoming really boring.
I know.
Or becoming really samey.
And the simple fact is the internet looks at... It would look at Ashley at the start.
Yeah.
And say, why has this character not been killed off?
Yeah. It would instantly go for, get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't
and they wouldn't give her that character growth and give her that story arc that I actually really like.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, actually, because I think it's one of the things, like, why do developers want to remake these games? And I just wonder if it's because they want to...
Well, they want more money, first of all, which I understand.
Yes. Yeah. But is it a case... I hate the terminology, but is it a case of making historical games more woke? I hate that word so much. But is there an element of that?
When the games are done badly, it can happen. And at the same time... So going back to the Ashley thing, as I said, if we made her fully woke straight out the gate, as I said, she loses her character development. She loses one of her big story arcs, which isn't right, in my opinion, because characters, like people, do change. And I think those types of stories and those types of characters are the best.
Mm.
And when you write a good character like that, you need to let those characters do that.
Yeah.
And with all the wokeness going on, that doesn't give a lot of characters and a lot of writers that opportunity.
No, but the funny thing is, I feel like at the moment, game developers are almost kind of afraid of the anti-woke sort of brigade. Let's call it.
You're talking about the MAGA brigade, really, aren't
Pretty
you?
much, because I think this is why that Civil War game got cancelled. They had so much backlash from Shadows, where you had two characters, one an Asian woman and the other an African man, and that may not even be the reason why the game is perceived to be bad, but at its core, it might be reasons why people didn't like it. So now they're saying, okay, well, we were going to do this Civil War game, but we don't want to do it now because we don't want to upset these people. And that's what I mean by political problems with these games now. I'm upset that they cancelled that game because I think it could have been really cool.
A lot of characters lose their story arc to the woke and even the anti-woke movement. They're just as bad in some ways.
Oh, completely. I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. I'm just saying that it means that characters can't either be a certain thing or go a certain way because developers are too afraid to upset one side of the argument or another.
And it means these characters lose their story, which is why one of the reasons the game flops.
Yes.
As well.
Yes. Because one of the other podcast topics we were looking at was about computer game characters and why they mean so much to us. Well, if you start watering down these characters, they're not going to mean anything to anybody.
No.
So I do think they run the risk of kind of going down this really bland storytelling route now. But we'll see.
I think we need to give characters and writers, whether they're remakes or brand new games, the chance to actually write their characters, love their characters, and so we can love them back.
Yeah.
Because as I said, that character development is crucial, whether they start off as a bad person character and then we see their development through the story, or whether you see somebody fall to the dark side or whatever, because, you see a good guy fall to the dark side, you still love that villain.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You don't stop just because they've changed, It's also a bit of a thing at the moment because what I see a lot of online with Assassin's Creed, bring it up again.
Go for it. Don't be shy about it.
When we're talking about this subject in particular, and wokeism and all that kind of thing, in Odyssey, they allow you as the gamer to choose between playing as Cassandra or Alexios.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to Valhalla, they allow you as a gamer to choose between female Eivor
or male
Eivor. And the division that has created is huge because it means that the story means different things to different people. It also causes a hell of a continuity problem, especially with Cassandra. But it generally becomes an issue because now fans will have a go at one another and saying, well, that's not Eivor because that's the wrong gender. It should be this one. And then obviously the other side of the argument is, no, you're wrong. It should actually be this one. And I have my opinions on that are pretty strong as well. But my point is, I think the developers, Ubisoft in this example, were quite cowardly in that they couldn't make a decision for themselves because they let the player decide. It shows to me they didn't have the backbone to just make a character. They obviously wanted to give the option for female protagonists, I think, but they didn't have the conviction to just make a female protagonist. They gave you the option to have one. So I'm hoping that when Assassin's Creed Hex comes out, that name may change, by the way, it is supposed to be, at the moment, based on a female assassin called Elsa, funnily enough.
Let it go. Sorry, shutting up.
There is no suggestion at the moment that there's going to be any option to make that a male character or that you'll be able to switch between one and the other or whatever. And I hope that that's true because so far they've not had the courage to actually stick to one. Even in Shadows, they didn't. You still have to choose between two characters to play as. One's male, one's female. Why can't they just do what they always did? Edward Kenway, had the option to change Edward Kenway.
I know.
But it was a white male, so they probably didn't really care.
I think what Assassin's Creed were gunning for was what happened with Mass Effect. So when you open up Mass Effect games, you can actually build your character.
Okay.
And if they'd done that, would it have been a better game? I don't know. But Mass Effect and Dragon Age, for that fact, they have mechanics where you build your character. They give you like bases that you can choose from, and then you can adjust them.
Is that in the same way as like on Diablo 4, you actually create your character from scratch, so it's all unique to
yes.
your thing. The only problem with that is that when you have a very lore-based, story-driven game, it kind of prevents continuity in that sense.
Okay.
So, say for example, when you play Valhalla, Cassandra from Odyssey comes up.
Right.
Well, but if you were able just to create every character from scratch as a unique thing, well, then they can't appear in the next game because they don't exist. And because I don't know about Mass Effect, but I know with AC, there's a lot of novels, there's a whole comic series. It's all got to tie in with that and all be connected with that because it's so story driven. So it isn't to say that Mass Effect isn't story driven, but it's very specific character driven.
Correct.
Yes, I think that is quite good, and I do like the option of being able to do that. But my reference on that at the moment is Diablo 4, which I hate.
Okay.
It's a terrible game. It's such a terrible game. I
mean, you're allowed that opinion. I'm not going to stop you from having that opinion. I don't have an opinion on Diablo 4 because I haven't played any of it yet.
I just don't like the game style. So if you watch the playthrough that went up for it that's on this channel, you'll see visually what it looks like, and I just don't like it. You'll see how different it is from like an RPG type, even with Zelda. It's a very different layout, the way they present the game. I just don't like the visuals of it. I don't like the gameplay of it. Cinematics, oh my god, amazing.
Okay.
But gameplay, not for me, unfortunately. Which is a shame because it is a game that should appeal to me. It just doesn't. But anyway, that's a whole side tangent. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they could remake that game.
And that time they might get it right.
But do it right. I'd love to see games like that become open world RPG because it would be incredible. Absolutely incredible. When you watch the video, you'll see what I mean.
Okay.
But, some games, I think, if you're going to do a remake of them, do it so that the mechanics are different. So let's take, for example, because we've spoken about this with Resident Evil in the past.
Okay.
Let's take the first Resident Evil.
OG,
number one. What if you remade that as an FPS? Now, you wouldn't like it because you don't like FPS.
I struggle with FPS games a lot. There's some of them that I think are absolutely wonderful, but I still suck at them.
And then we can flip it the other way and say, okay, what about like Call of Duty is obviously probably the world's biggest FPS game, in my opinion. What if you flip that and made that third-person shooter?
I would probably be better at it. And yes, someone like me could enjoy it more, potentially.
So when you're going to do a remake and you're going to remaster a game, why not make it so that all you actually change is the mechanics of the game so that it appeals to someone who likes a different style? You see what I mean? I don't know if that would work so much with certain types of combat. Although having said, what I'm thinking in my mind is like if you took Zelda, which is predominantly third person, I believe, trying to turn that into first person would be...
Oh, no, that wouldn't work.
But actually, I think that it might. Because if you look at Kingdom Come Deliverance, for example, that is a first-person knights game, essentially.
Yes.
So you can do sword play as first-person. It's a little clunky. It's maybe not the most smoothest combat system I've ever seen in the world, but it does work. And it's actually a really loved game. It was one of the biggest games that came out last year. So, again, you then open up that game without changing the story, without doing anything major, without changing characters.
Interesting.
But you put it into the hands of people that it becomes more accessible to them just because that's their preferred game style. Why not remake games that way? Yeah,
that could work. It would still take some trial and error, and there would still be bumps in the road, but I can see it working.
Yeah. Well, Resident Evil is a good example because we see them keep changing it all the time.
Yes.
Every other game is a different type. And again, I think we spoke before about how Requiem is supposed to be a combination of the two types of systems.
Yes.
That you can choose between one and the other. But obviously Village was entirely first person.
Yeah, I might struggle with Village.
The OG games are entirely third person. Like, make up your mind. They've constantly jumped from one to the other and they don't really seem to be able to fix now on one that they prefer. And that's fine, but I'm just thinking the option would be nice, which is what Requiem is supposed to give, but I'm thinking generally for all games. make the option.
I can see the pros, and I can also see a couple of cons. One is obviously development time.
Yes.
It would take them a lot longer to get the development of those games done, because you're essentially causing two combat systems that have got to run almost simultaneously.
Yes. So it is challenging, and games might have to become smaller.
Yes.
As a result of that, just to make it more doable. But then the other podcast topic we had is, are games too big? Especially open world games, are they too big?
It depends on the open world.
I think it depends on the game, personally, because I see arguments on this on both sides of the fence, but it's a whole thing.
There are arguments for both sides, yes. But I think we save that topic for the next one.
That's a whole other thing. But yeah, if we're talking specifically remakes, I don't see the harm in. Mind you, having said that, Assassin's Creed as first person, tricky. Again,
not impossible, but not definitely hard.
It would be it would be just like Kingdom Come Deliverance is the only way that you could. Well, that is how it would look. So you could make it work. It would be a very different type of experience. I mean, imagine a leap of faith in first person. Like your view of falling is going to be incredible.
That could cause a right. And if the game makers were really horrible, they'd make you do a quick time.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
the backflip in time, otherwise you go splat.
Yeah, then the climbing mechanics might not work quite so well, and the parkour and things like that. So, some games I don't think it would work. Some games it might just work better slightly for different reasons. But it will be interesting to see when Requiem comes out, if we do it when we play it, so that we do a version each.
Yes, that could be quite good fun.
Just to see how that actually works. But again, I don't know if there's certain parts of that game where you have to do one thing a certain way because of a puzzle or a weapon type or something like that.
We'll find out.
We will find out. It's supposed to be next month, so we haven't got long to wait.
Yikes.
Yep. And then Black Flag resynced the month after that. So
yikes.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking maybe we don't buy any more new games for the rest of the year.
Let's save some money. Let's save some Disney money.
Save money, but also save time, because we need to actually finish some of these games. It'd be quite nice, and we've got like the rest of the year to do it. But it'll be interesting to see. Are you aware of any other remakes that are coming out that you know of?
None that spring to mind. None that I'm aware of. I mean, Nintendo these days, they're almost always re-releasing things on their on what is essentially their Game Pass. Now, I don't like that very much. I don't like paying for that particular subscription.
Okay.
So if it's a specific game that I can just buy outright, I'll do it. One example of this is actually House of the Dead. I've still not been able to get my hands on it. Yeah. So that is one I would like to get.
Well, you nearly did. You nearly bought it. You literally had it in your hand. I had
it in my hand, and then the lady said she didn't have any more copies, and that was just the display copy. I was gutted.
So close. I keep meaning to go back in there and find that for you as well.
I keep keeping my eyes out for it, and I've not found it yet.
I'll go into game, because that's where it was.
Thank you.
I'll see if it's in there next time I go into town. Just in case.
I appreciate that, bro. But yeah, that could be an interesting one, because that's a first-person shooter.
Okay.
And I played it in an arcade when I was a kid.
Oh, okay. So this is going to be the first time actually on a console.
This would be the first time I've ever played it on a console, on a handheld, or on a TV.
Yeah, that could be kind of cool.
That could be a very different kettle of fish, and we might have to reapproach this topic once I've played that game.
Tell you what, there is one game that springs to mind that I really would like them to redo and remaster. I don't know if you know about this one. It's called Siphon Filter.
No idea of that one.
And it was a third-person shooter. This was on the PlayStation 1.
Okay.
Way back when. And the reason why I'd like them to redo it is because obviously the graphics back, they're very pixelated. I'd like them to just to remaster it, because it was quite a good game. But you could also remaster some like really old stuff, like the original Doom, for example, would be cool. Or even better, Duke Nukem was amazing. Blimey. Like a modern version, a modern 2020s version of Duke Nukem would be amazing. But I tell you why they won't.
Yeah.
I know damn well why they won't.
I know exactly why they won't.
Because it's the same thing, like you probably couldn't have GTA now in the way that you had GTA before.
Yeah.
The world doesn't think like that anymore. As hysterical as it was. God, that game was brilliant.
I know one game that would be cool if it did get remade, remastered. Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck. It's funny you should mention that because I actually saw my brother just got a Switch 2 and he's got a modern version of a game that he originally played on the NES way back when. I can't for the life of me remember what it's called, but it's a very arcade shooter type game. Great fun. I'm terrible at it.
Yep.
But he loves it and it looked really cool actually. And I was like, yeah, why can't you take like really old games and just remaster? You don't have to change anything other than graphics, just graphics. Because there's loads of things that you could remaster in that way. And you go back to like PS1, why can't we remaster the first ever GTA game to make it like the modern ones where it's the third person type thing, rather than you just having a 2D car that you're driving around on the screen and a little person from above? Why not make it so that it's like the GTA games now? Don't remember GTA and GTA 2 being quite as controversial as GTA 3, 4, San Andreas, 5, Vice City. I don't remember
being much better.
No, but because it was so pixelated and you were zoomed so far out, maybe it just didn't look as bad. I don't know, but those are things that, like, if they're going to remaster stuff, because like Black Flag came out in 2012, 2013, I feel like we've not moved on enough for them to merit redoing it. And I don't understand why that one. Why not the first one, which goes back
even further,
nearly 20 years? Why have they randomly gone for the fourth entry in the series is very strange to me. So I don't know why they've done that.
I don't know either.
But, you know, let's have remakes of like the PS1 era or the NES era.
Or the PS2 era.
PS2, again, I would say the graphics are good enough to not yet merit redoing them.
Okay, fair enough.
I think. I'm talking proper pixels.
Okay.
But like the NES would be a great example of that. Ninja Turtles now.
That would be epic if you could have all four.
Yeah, Ninja
TMNT,
Turtles.
yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be so
fun.
cool. Because we see like modern versions of certain things, like Sonic, for example, has more modern versions of it, and that's absolutely fine. And they're not the same games, but
they're close.
They're close, and obviously they're part of
Mario
that long
as
series.
well as the other one.
Yeah, Mario's a good example of that. But yeah, there's certain games that you go way back, and I think, God, yeah, that'd be really cool to kind of redo.
Yeah, I agree.
And revisit. So yeah, there are games where I think it would work and it'd be a lot of good fun. There's games now where I think I understand why they don't want to do it.
Yes.
But it's just an interesting topic because I just think, is it ruining creativity though? You could argue this about movies as well, actually.
I'm gonna say no, a soft no, it's not ruining creativity, because you look at Expedition 33, for example.
Yep.
That's a new game, and it's managed to win Game of the Year.
Yes. Yeah, that's fair.
And if you look at things like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they are very different from old school Zelda games. Yes, there's a few things that have been copy-pasted, but there's still 2-ton truckfuls of new in those games compared to the old games as well. Yeah,
I think it just depends on how they do it, how they deliver it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking if they're gonna do it, I want to see the oldest things get just redone with modern graphics, just to make them look a bit less terrible now.
Okay.
Things, like Duke Nukem, Doom, those are things that spring to mind. Siphon Filter, Darkwing Duck,
TMNT.
Yeah, 100%. It's the really old school things. So that's my take.
I think we've answered the question. The answer is...
Well, we've answered the question.
We've answered the question,
You guys can answer the question and leave a comment down below to let us know what you think about it. And if you are a fan of the remasters, what ones do you like? What ones are you looking forward to if there's new ones coming out? And on that said...
We did it.
I think we've done it. So, what we'll say is...
we don't know. It varies from case to case, because some game developers do get it right, and congratulations to you. But there are cases where developers do get it wrong as well, for a multitude of reasons. Some of them political, some of them mechanical, some of them just bad luck.
So I think we're going to sit on the fence a little bit with this one. It really depends on the game.
It does.
So with that said, and on that not so terrible disappointment, I really want that on a t-shirt.
Not so terrible disappointment.
No, just terrible disappointment, just branded on a t-shirt, and just walk around with that. Just think it'd be hilarious.
Oh boy.
Anyway, on that bombshell, it is time to end. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. The podcast, as yet unnamed, is over.